So good evening, everyone, and we're going to have a little herbal book review here for a few moments and look at some contemporary books and some actually one Australian book that deals with growing American ginseng, but also these books cover the population ecology, how the populations fare in the wild, and also the social history of people's interaction with ginseng in North America. And I picked up a couple of books recently that are really fascinating about this. So let's go and have a look. And then another contemporary book by a gentleman called James McGraw. And he has been a university researcher, and he is a biologist, and he has done research and had his students do research on ginseng from the point of view of what's the population ecology of this plant. So how does it disperse through the forest? What are the actual timelines of its life cycle? And what animals disperse it? What's the impact on its being grown? So he would have students come and do researches on all these different aspects. And he did surveys and kept data over at least 14 years, probably longer, of these set populations. And it's been a data set that's just been a gold mine of information to keep learning more about this plant. So some of his conclusions are that the replacement time for, say, a ginseng plant like the one on the cover, how long does it take for it to mature, have seed, the seed grow and become a replacement plant? He found it was somewhere between about 13 to 15 years, even sometimes up to 20 years. And which is a hell of a lot longer than what anyone in the legislation was basing their rules and harvesting practices on. Although he did have a very encouraging example at the end where someone had their own private population of the ginseng, and they had about 30 plants. And then over 10 years, they just kept planting physically the mature seeds in the area. So their 30 plants then became close to 300 plants over that time in about 10 to 12 years. So it really was a great example of like some careful stewarding you can actually get quite a regeneration of the stock. It talked about over harvesting, of course, which has been going on for a huge amount of time. One of the huge impacts is deer browsing, because there's no predators for the deer, like the top end predators like bobcats and cougars and wolves have been largely reduced in Eastern America. So the deer population's just gone nuts, and they come through and eat the plants, and this stunts the growth obviously to the year and when they're browsed, but also stunts the following year. It takes a while for the plants to regain sort of growing momentum. And fully researched and referenced, and as I've made the comment here, it's the sort of book, the sort of science we wish all medicinal herbs had received. But we can draw a lot of inferences and insight from this on this one herb and apply it to many other plants in the wild as well. And I guess the big learning for this is that we start harvesting these plants at a rate and in a manner in which we're just totally ignorant how long it takes to replace the actual reality of the life cycle of the plant. So and drawing from his data over those 20 years, he and I think 30 different plots that he tracked, he aggregated all the information, and he found out that the actual plant populations are declining. But then, you know, there was that useful story at the end that it wouldn't take much tweaking to actually turn that all around. So anyway, a fascinating book, very, very readable. You know, he talks a bit about the science detail, but you can sort of skip over that and still get good information about what's going on.